not accepting anything that comes to you or that is fed for you. So kailan when you are critical minded, nagda-doubt ka. So say for example, may sinabi ako, tapos magre-research ka more to confirm kung ano yung sinabi ng isa. And that is a good scientific attitude. What else?
So yun po ma'am, syempre kung critical mindedness ka, kailangan mong maging perseverance or kailangan mo ng sipag para maghanap, maghalungkat ng mga source or mga information, evidence na kailangan mong isupply doon sa hinahanap na katanungan or kung ano man yung hinahanap na sagot, ganun po.
Okay.
Then, ayun po, i-relate ko rin po, so connect ko rin po yung constructivist na kailangan po makapag-create po tayo ng mga ideas and thoughts nang sa ganun mahinuha po natin kung ano po yung kailangan nating ibigay na kaalaman din po. So natakpan po yata tong pang-apat. Ano ba makita ito?
Sige.
Oops, sorry.
Okay, you can choose others na lang dyan. You can give me 2 more. Kasi baka mamaya, pati itong mga to ay nandun sa kabilang grupo. Let us just take a look at how they presented their outputs.
Sa science, yun po.
What else?
So yun po, reliance on fact. Kailangan po ng talagang matinding evidence ng katotohanan when it comes to science kasi marami pong naglilipanan ng mga informations lalong-lalo na sa internet. Ganun po. Maraming source, maraming information. Minsan nga po nalilito tayo kung saan po yung tama at kung saan po talaga yung mali. So kailangan po talaga mag-rely po tayo sa totoong information which is yung fact po and yung truth.
Okay. And last, can you pick one more?
So last is maging ayun ma'am, para relate po siya. Kailangan po natin ng judgment. Lastly is judgment po kasi yung judgment po yun po yung makakapag-push sa atin and yun po yung makakapag-guide sa atin kung paano tayo mag-analyze, mag-synthesize nang sa ganun yung information na makukuha natin from different source is maging reliable and maging authentic po. Ganun po.
Okay. So in short, with all those 4 words that you have chosen to present this afternoon for your group, RJ, kailangan niya nang i-develop ninyo na scientific attitude and values among your students. And one of the best thing that we can do to develop those scientific attitudes among our students is to model it ourselves. So kailangan critical-minded din tayo. So we can question their outputs. Halimbawa, alam mo nang tama yung sagot ng bata pero pwede mo siyang kontrahin para lang matest natin kung yung depth ng understanding niya dun sa fact na present niya. So it is healthy actually in science and in any other subject to welcome contestations. Hindi ibig sabihin na pag sinabi ni teacher yun na yung totoo. You are supposed to be open for contestations in your classes kasi doon nag-uumpisa na yung curiosity ng mga bata ay nafe-feed natin kasi the more that they are curious, the more that they are urged to learn more about a specific concept. And that's what science is all about. Questioning, science is all about doubting, science is all about finding the truth and nothing but the truth, of course. Okay, so thank you so much, RJ, for that wonderful presentation. Within the 15 minutes, you were able to gather a lot of scientific attitudes. We're going to test all of that later on kapag tayo ay magpo-poll na sa ating GC for a pop quiz. Okay? Thank you, RJ.
Thank you po, ma'am.
All right. For group number 2, can you now present your output? Who will present group 2's output? Okay. Okay, Joe and Kenneth is doing it. All right.
So, good afternoon po, ma'am. Sa 15 minutes, ito
Yes.
po yung aming mga napagkamapan sa sagot regarding the scientific attitudes and values. So, dalawa po kami ni Kuya Juen na magdi-discuss. Bali, pipili po ako ng dalawa. So, first is curiosity po. Curiosity is the path of knowing. If you don't have the curiosity, you don't have the will to know something or know the answer regarding a problem. And next is creativity po. Creativity of creating methods or ways on how to answer those problems or things. Ganun po.
Okay. Thank you, Miguel. Yes, Joanne?
Yeah, next naman po is patience or being patient. Hindi po ito yung patient na nakahiga. Ito po, yung patient po mahalaga kasi it is a person's ability to wait something out or endure something without getting riled up. Sa mga makita naman po natin sa mga experiment, kailangan natin talagang maghintay para sa magiging possible na outcome nung ginagawa natin. Hindi naman kasi po agad-agad na merong result. Sometimes we have to wait. Sana all naghihintay.
Nagwi-wait. Then, hugot ka more, Joel.
Then, yung isa po, discipline. Siyempre, kailangan din po natin talagang sa isang experiment na kailangan disiplinado po tayo para makuha natin yung goal na minimikhi po natin. Hugot na naman ata.
Okay, hugot na naman, go. Isa pang hugot. All right. So, I think thank you so much, Joanne and Miguel. I think I would agree with you when you say patient kasi in experiments or in proving something so that we can arrive at the fact or at the truth, we need really to wait. And sometimes, i-connect ko siya dun sa kabilang group ko. Persevering tayo, na kapag nag-start tayo, we'll just not start just for the sake of starting, but we have to finish everything that we have started. Yun ay isang magandang scientific attitude. Pero mahirap i-convey at mahirap i-practice yun, lalo na kapag ang mga bata ay madali silang nag-give up. So the very most important scientific attitude and value na pwede ding i-develop sa mga bata ay the joy for learning, internal motivation. Na hindi nila ginagawa yung experiment nila just for the sake of doing the experiment and submitting something. Lagi ko yung sinasabi yan sa mga klase ko, sa mga estudyante ko, even in my comments in your outputs during the last semester, na nawiweigh ko yung puso ninyo doon sa work ninyo. Kasi nakikita talaga yon na may mga bagay kasi na, malapit na yung deadline, tapos wala pa akong nauumpisahan. So, the tendency is, nagmamadali ka lang para lang may masubmit ka. So, burahin natin yon and we have to model as a positive scientific attitude among our students. So, hindi lang dapat yun sa science actually. Pero, isa yun sa mga gusto kong idagdag na magandang scientific attitude and value na i-develop natin sa isa't isa. Okay? So, hindi siya madali, mahirap ang mag-work for sciences kasi we are always after the truth. Kaya lang, we really need to do it kasi maraming benefits ang pag-aaral ng science. And we're going to talk about that when we discuss the principles of science teaching, specifically that for physics and earth science. So thank you so much, group number 2. Now we're going to proceed with the next part of our lesson, which is on scientific knowledge. So scientific knowledge pertains to subject content. And this is where the key stage standards for grades 3, 4, 5, and 6 can be seen. So far, meron pa tayong questions muna. So nakikita natin yung hobby ng ating lesson kanina. Skills yung inuna natin, tapos nag-discuss tayo ng siyam na skills. Tapos, scientific attitudes and values. Tapos nagdi-discuss tayo ngayon ng content. Nandun tayo sa framework, dun sa may gitna. The cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor. Wala pa tayo dun sa labas ng framework natin. Ibig sabihin, mahaba-haba pa yung pag-uusapan natin. But let us take a look now at the key stage standards for physics in the elementary level. So this was called from the CG or the curriculum guide on spiraling of concepts. So in spiraling of concepts, nakaturo yung mga arrows natin sa grades 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So mapapansin niyo, meron talagang spiral na na-form dito sa figure na binuo ni Ma'am Michelle actually to. So mapapansin niyo din, kakaunti yung coverage ng grade 3, mas malaki yung coverage ng grade 4, papalaki ng papalaki yung ating oblong. Nakikita niyo po yung screen ko? Tama ba? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So habang lumalaki, lumalalim din. Okay, tama? Lumalalim din siya. So ibig sabihin, nagdadagdag tayo horizontally at saka vertically nung ating mga lessons. So habang dumadami yung concepts, kasi lumalaki yung bilog, lumalalim din. So expected that when you will be in grade 9, for example, mas marami ang alam mong konsepto sa grade 3 at mas malalim na ang pangunawa mo sa concepts. So let us try to trace this one. So for grade 3 physics class, you are to describe position of different sources. Position and different position, describing position. So i-describe mo lang, nasa left ba siya, nasa right siya, nasa harapan mo siya, nasa likuran mo siya. It's as simple as that. The north, east, the south, and the west. To contextualize, harap, likod, ganun natin siya kino-contextualize. O kaya, nakaharap sa araw, kapag pasikat ang araw, kung saan isisilang ang araw, yan ang silangan. Kung saan ikakanlong ang araw, yan ang kanluran. So, saan siya magsiset. So, contextualizing using the words silang and kanlungan, that is specifically describing the position for grade 3. Ngayon, kapag nagpunta siya sa grade 4, asaan ang position niya? Explain effects of applied force. Applied force, characterize magnetic force, describe how light, sound, and heat. So, hanggang andito siya. Explain effects. So, kung kanina, nag-describe tayo ng position, pagdating niya ng grade 4, habang nagde-describe siya ng position, ini-explain din niya yung effects ng applied force sa position ng isang object. Example, kapag mas malakas ang in-apply mong force sa isang ball, mas malayo ang pwede niyang marating as compared with kaunting force lang yung i-apply mo. So you see, from grade 3, you're only describing the position based on harap-likod, left-right, for grade 3, or you are using the context of silangan and kanluran to explain concepts of position, pero pagdating mo ng grade 4, nag-i-explain ka ng position plus the effects of applied force on the position of the object. In short, nagdagdag po ba ako ng concept? Meron akong concept ng grade 3, may concept ako ng grade 4, tapos nilaliman ko pa. Kaya kung makikita nyo tong bilog na to, lumalim din ng konti kasi tumaas tayo ng grade level. Pagdating niya ng grade 5, except aside from describing the motion of an object, you describe the motion by tracing and measuring its change in position over time. Saka mo palang ituturo na kapag nag-change in position over a period of time, yan yung tinatawag nating speed. In short, hindi pa natin dinidiscuss ang speed sa grade 3, sa grade 4, puro lang siya position, effect. Tapos pagdating nila ng grade 5, saka mo palang ituturo yung speed. So meron kang nadagdag na concept, lumalim ang understanding, tapos dadagdagan pa natin yan sa grade 6. That learners can now describe, bakit nagkamali na tayo ng grade 6 dito, naging chemistry na to. So maybe, magdadagdag ulit siya ng specific concept at a specific lalim. Thus, the term SPA in the science education curriculum. SPA stands for Spiral Progression Approach. Okay. Now, do you have questions dun sa spiraling ng first concept? Grade 3, 4, 5, and 6. Kasi kung wala, let us move on to the different sources and uses of light, sound, and electricity. So in grade 3, sasabihin mo lang ano yung mga sources ng light, ng sound, and electricity, at ano-ano yung mga gamit nila, uses. As simple as that. So one of the sources are may natural source tayo, tsaka may artificial source tayo. Kung yun lang ang focus natin ng grade 3, yun lang. Hindi pa natin dadagdagan. Huwag niyong sasabing the circuit, the DC, the AC, wala muna. Pag grade 3, sources lang muna, gamit lang muna, period. Saka na tayo magdagdag pagdating natin ng grade 4. So pagdating ng grade 4, dadagdagan siya ng how light, sound, and heat travel. Tapos, investigate din yung properties and characteristics of light and sound. So kung noon, natural and artificial sources of light, we're going to describe it. How do they travel? In specific mediums. Nakakapag-travel ba ang light sa water? Nakakapag-travel ba ang light sa air? Nakakapag-travel ba ang light sa solid materials? Doon na nadadagdagan ngayon yung konsepto nila sa grade 3 na meron tayong sources of light. Okay. And then pagdating nila ng grade 5, i-discuss naman why some materials are good conductors of heat and electricity. Paano nakakadaan ang heat and electricity sa specific materials? Bakit may nabablock? Bakit may nakakapag-pass through? So in the experiments that you're going to do later on sa physics, tapos eto yung mga nakatapat sa inyo, you have to think of alternatives. So halimbawa, sa YouTube, kunwari nanood kayo, how light passes through a specific medium which is liquid. So yung tubig, bakit nagkakaroon ng bending? Pwede ko na po ba yung i-discuss sa grade 3? Balikan ninyo yung learning competencies ng grade 3. Kasi baka nakakat across niya yung grade 5 and grade 6. Meaning to say, baka mas mataas na yung learning competency na naiisip mo na dapat matutunan lang ng grade 3. Ma'am, ang dami ko kasing alam. Gusto kong ilagay lahat sa aking lesson plan. I wanted to prove that I can teach everything. Now, that is not the point. Kasi madidefeat po natin yung spiral progression approach kung excited tayo masyado na maluwang na yung dinidiscuss natin at malalim pa. So, wala na tayong ilalalim kapag diniscuss na natin lahat. So, later on, magmi-meeting naman kayo across grade levels. Ang miniting kasi lang natin noon is grade 3 lang, yung kagrupo mo lang sa grade 3, di ba? Hindi pa ako nagpapamiting na yung grade 3, magmi-meeting kasama yung grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6 para makita na walang overlapping of concepts. Kasi po, pakita ko later sa next slide pa kung ano yung pagkakaiba bawat grade level. Now, the sequence of domains. Ang physics ay tinuturo sa third quarter. So, puro third quarter for grades 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. At isang good news dito. Hindi ko alam kung good news to. Yung mga naka-assign na magturo ng grade 3, English ang LP, pero Ilocano ang gagamitin sa pagtuturo. Challenging, di ba? Okay. Bigla bang na-stress ang mga naka-assign sa grade 3 kasi ang kanilang medium of instruction ay Ilocano. Sino dito? Sino dito? You can raise your hand. Let me see. Wait lang. I'll go back to the classroom. Sino dito ang mga naka-assign sa grade 3? Oh, si Trisha. Who else? So, Trisha, kailangan marunong ka mag-Ilocano. Kasi Trisha, when you do your experiment, you will explain it in Ilocano. Challenging ba, Trisha? Ngayon, when you meet your grade 3, 4, 5, 6 group mates, eto dapat yung magiging focus natin. Dalawa lang ang hatian ng physics in the elementary. Force and motion lamang at saka energy. So sa mga naka-assign sa force and motion lessons, sila ang magmi-meeting next. Lesson ng grade 3, lesson ng grade 4, lesson ng grade 5 at saka grade 6. To make sure that there is no overlapping of concepts. Tapos, yung mga energy naka-assign sa light, sources of light, heat, sound, electricity, lahat ng yan ay sa energy magfo-fall. Ang kamiting din nila ay yung mga naka-assign sa grades 4, grade 5, and grade 6. At para makita nyo yung SPA talaga natin, tingnan natin kung ano ang expected for grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, and grade 10. Kung kanina, sa grade 3, ay balikan ko yung grade 3. Mag-describe lamang ng posisyon. Expected, hanggang grade 6, bago siya mag-grade 7, dapat alam na niya ang motion, scientific ways of describing motion in terms of distance, speed, acceleration, and representing those using motion diagrams, charts, and graphs. The example that I have given a while ago, yung tulo ng tubig mula sa plastic ng yelo, depende sa bilis mo at bagal mo maglakad, is actually a representation diagram. So, pwedeng ipagamit yun. Pero that is for grade 7. So, the challenge here is, ano ang pwede kong gawing experiment or i-design na experiment para sa grade 3 para ituro ang position. Pwede po ba akong magpasayaw? Kanan, kaliwa, likod, paharap? Pwede sana. Kaya lang, exhibitory kasi ang model natin for physics, which makes it more challenging. So, paano ba namin yung gagawin, ma'am? Now, we are going to do it one at a time. So, pagdating natin dun sa planning, we're going to have planning per group na lang siguro para hindi siya big group. So, say for example, ang naka-assign na mag-synchronous meeting ngayon ay mga grade 3 groups, yung grade 3 groups lang. Ang magsasabit lang ng LP ngayong week na to, itong group na to, itong group na to lang. Tapos, aayusin muna natin and we're going to do it together. So, nakaka-anxious, nakaka-worry, pero I believe that you can do that. Ngayon, sa energy naman, kung kanina sa energy, ang nakalagay lang sa grade 3 ay sources and uses of light, sound, and electricity sa grade 3, tataasan ng competency hanggang sa makaya niya, pagdating niya ng grade 7, that the learners can recognize that different forms of energy travel in different ways. So light and sound travel through waves, heat travels through moving or vibrating particles, and electrical energy travels through moving charges. When I made an experiment for this energy, how to describe sound as a vibration, gumamit ako ng lata ng gatas, tapos tinalian ko ng balloon sa taas, tapos nilagyan ko ng string pang tahe. At tapos maglalagay ka ng kunwari ay rice, kanin, bigas. Tapos itatap ko yung can. Pag tinap mo yon, magva-vibrate ngayon doon sa may balloon, which would tend to create sound. Makikita mo yung vibration as a form of sound doon sa paggalaw ng mga bigas. So that is a simple experiment that you can do. But I did that for grade 7. Kasi I made a module for grade 7, 8, 9, and 10. Contextualized. So, ibig sabihin ng contextualized, gumamit ako ng mga bagay na patapon na sana. So, yung sa sound naman, ang ginamit ko ay yung tissue roll, yung ganito, ng rolyo ng tissue. Tapos, kapag magkakaiba siya ng height, ay magkakaiba ng tunog na mapuproduce dun sa rubber band. So, that is an example of an experiment that you can do. Pero, bababaan nyo ng level kasi nga, ang target natin is grades 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, before I proceed with Earth and Space, do you have any comments or clarifications? Pwedeng magsalita or I can take a look at the chat box now. So, pumunta muna ako dito sa chat box so that I can see if you have questions so far for physics. You can type your questions. I'm waiting. Yes? Anything? Okay, it seems that maybe you're overwhelmed by the learning competencies or lessons that are presented for grades 3 to 6. Or hindi pa kayo makapag-isip ng tanong, okay lang yun. In that case, I'll move on to Earth and Space. Juan, can you speak for the class, please?
Ma'am, alis na po yung paalam ko po kanina.
Okay, so sige, okay lang. So your class president, your vice president is
Mikiri po.
Miguel. Okay, Miguel.
Mikiri, ma'am.
Thank you, Joel.
Mikiri Roquero po yung vice po.
Nikiri, sorry, Nikiri.
Ma'am, good afternoon po.
All right, thank you, Joanne. Yes, Nikki, just in case may mga tanong tayong mga classmates mo with regards to physics content, you can just leave a message na lang dun sa GC if they think na hindi pa sila makapagbigay ng question ngayon. Baka na-overwhelm silang bigla dun sa dami pala nung kailangang i-prepare dun sa physics, even if we only are tasked with one lesson. Dami pala natin kailangang i-consider. Okay? Kasi when you do your lesson plan, importante may nade-develop tayong skills and attitudes just as what was discussed a while ago. So, kung sa tingin nila, hindi pa sila makapag-send ng questions ngayon, okay lang, babalikan ko yung Earth and Space, tapos balikan ko na lang tong chat box later. Baka nahiya lang sila ni Kerry.
Okay po, ma'am. Noted po. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. So, let us go back then. So, for Earth and Space naman, ganun din ang gustong parating sa atin ng Science Curriculum Framework. SPA pa rin tayo. So, we have spiral progression approach still. So, for grades 3, grade 3, ang main concept na de-develop natin is that they can describe, at the end of the school year, they can describe changes in the conditions of their surroundings. So, nag-focus lang muna siya sa surroundings. So, dito sa ating spiral, maliit na bilog, hindi pa masyadong malalim, tapos palalim, sabi natin kanina. So, pagdating nyo ng grade 4, it is not only the conditions of the surroundings ang magiging point of study niya, but rather, they would be able to investigate like which type of soil is best for certain plants, and then they could also infer on the importance of water in daily activities. So in short, kung very general yung lessons niya sa grade 3 on surroundings, dito, na-streamline na or nagiging mas focused ang topics for grade 4. So mag-focus siya sa soil tsaka sa water in daily activities. And then, they would also learn about weather and apply their knowledge on weather conditions, etc. So, napansin nyo, doon sa CG, na binigay ko sa inyo nung nag-assign ako ng topic, meron tayong specific topics on weather lang. Tapos may weather instruments. Tapos meron pang isang topic on weather. So, that's the reason why when I recorded the persons in charge for each LC, sinabi ko dun sa dalawang grupo kasi parang meron tayong, kaninong grupo ba yun? Earl, sa inyo ba yun? Yung sinabi kong,
yes, ma'am. Ako po yun.
Oo, tanong sa kabilang grupo. Tama. Kasi baka mamaya nag-overlap kayo ng lesson or baka matatakal nila tapos matatakal nyo siya ulit. Though magkakaroon din tayo ng iba pang planning session with regards to that. So meron lang tayong meron pa lang tayong preliminary planning pa lang. Across grade level pa lang yun. Wala pang grades, wala pang between 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Ngayon, pagdating nila sa grade 5, madadagdagan na naman. So, instead of just the weathers, madadagdagan ng mga phenomenon tulad ng earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Meron din dito yung typhoons eh. So, yung tawag dyan, yung earthquakes and volcanic eruptions will be introduced, but for grade 6 pala to, but will also be characterized under the changes that earth materials undergo. So, ibig sabihin, bago niya introduce si earthquake at si volcanic eruption, meron ulit siyang general idea na merong mga pangyayari sa earth that materials undergo, kaya sila nagpabago. Tapos, saka mo palang i-discuss kung ano yung mga yun pag sila ay grade 6 na. You will introduce about earthquakes. Ano yung mga uri ng earthquakes? Tectonic ba siya? Volcanic earthquake ba siya? Tapos yung mga types of volcanoes. Or maybe volcanic eruptions. Kung volcanic eruptions lang, volcanic eruptions. Kasi baka masagasaan natin yung sa grade 7. So, we really have to be very careful in developing our plans in such a case that we do not defy the principle of spiral progression. Kasi sabi niya, ulitin ko, pag spiral progression, maliit lang muna yung concept, tapos palaki ng palaki yung concept, at habang ito ay lumalaki, lumalalim din yung pag-discuss natin sa bawat concept. That's the reason why we have this figure for you to see. Okay? Ngayon, ang Earth and Space ay dinidiscuss during the 4th quarter for grades 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. Similarly, for grade 3, they will teach the concept of Earth and Space in the mother tongue. So, yung mga naka-assign ulit ng grade 3, you will have an LP in English, but will have the demo lesson. Video lesson ang napili nyo dito, no? In Ilocano. Okay, so good luck. Now, there are 3 main topics for Earth and Space. So, the first main topic for Earth and Space is geology. The second is meteorology. And the third one is astronomy. So, dapat clear sa inyo nung nag-assign tayo saang lesson ba ako para hindi nyo nasasagasaan ang isa't isa. So, let us try to examine geology. Geo means Earth. So, Earth science actually ang pag-aaralan natin. Nakafocus kayo sa Earth. Whether it be for grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6. So at grade 3, for geology classes, learners will describe what makes up their environment or what we call their surroundings, beginning with the landforms and bodies of water found in their community. After that, after familiarizing themselves with the general landscape, learners will investigate 2 components of the physical environment, soil and water. So, dalawa lang. So, general siya, tapos biglang mag-focus in tayo sa soil and water. Thus, there are some of you who will work only on soil. There are some of you who will work only on waters. They will classify soils in their community using simple criteria. Like, maybe they would assess ano yung uri ng soil na meron sila sa Santa Ignacia using texture as one criteria. Using the ability to absorb water as one criteria, or the color as one criteria. They will identify the different sources of water also in their community. Uso pa ba yung mga poso? Meron ba tayong mga running waters tulad ng rivers, for example? And then they will infer the importance of water in daily activities and describe ways of using water wisely. This is very important. Kasi, natututunan ng mga bata kung ano talaga yung kahalagahan niya. Therefore, paano natin siya pangangalagaan? Even if sabihin nila, ma'am, anyway, ano naman yan? Nauulit siya. It is cycling anyway. It is reusable. So, hindi pa rin justifiable, hindi maganda na dahil reusable siya, ay pwede mo na siyang gastusin. So, we have to let them see really the importance of water. Na hindi dahil libre ay okay lang na waldasin siya. So it's very important to develop that for grade 4. For grade 5 level, learners will learn that our surroundings do not stay the same forever. So it changes. So for example, rocks undergo weathering and soil is carried away by erosion. So these are 2 basic concepts. Weathering and erosion can be added. Changes in time also would cause the dwindling source of our water. Ibig sabihin, kung i-connect ko siya sa grade 4, tinuro ko na mahalaga ang water at kung paano siya pahahalagahan, paano siya gagamitin wisely. Sa grade 5, marirealize nila na nagbabago kasi lahat. Kaya pwede, kahit na reusable siya, pwede pa rin siyang mawala. So, i-incheck nyo yun sa grade 5. In short, nagdagdag tayo ng concept, tapos nilaliman din natin. Just as the same case as for grade 6. And for meteorology, weather lang muna sa grade 3. Sa grade 4, they're going to measure. So, magkakaroon tayo ng mga simple instruments or weather instruments that were discussed from grade 3. So, ano ba yung, kunwari, ang weather na na-discuss nila for grade 3 ay yung sa windy. So, ano yung mga instruments to measure yung lakas ng wind or yung bilis ng wind, etc. Didiscuss niya yan sa grade 4. Pagdating ng grade 5, didiscuss naman niya yung mga weather disturbances. Anong nangyayari kapag sobrang lakas ng hangin? And that actually defines the signals in our typhoons, yung lakas ng hangin. Hindi kasi natin pina-qualify sa meteorology. Ang isang typhoon ay nakabase sa lakas ng hangin. Though ang sinasabi ng mga matatanda, sana kahit ano na lang, hangin na lang, wag lang tubig kasi bahain sila. O kaya, sana umulan na lang, wag nang humangin ng malakas. Hindi kasi ito pwede kasi ang typhoon, hangin kasi talaga siya na nabubuo kapag merong hindi parehas na temperature habang dumadaan itong tropical area na ito doon sa bodies of water. So, habang mas matagal siya sa bodies of water, tendency, maaring mas lumalakas ang typhoon. So, kailangan nating ipatuto sa mga bata na may mga ganong pagkakataon. And therefore, they would realize na dapat pala nagtatalim ako ng puno para hindi masyadong mainit. Kasi the more na magkaiba yung temperature, mainit at malamig, kapag sila ay nagsinabat, nag-converge sila, ang nangyayari, mas lumalakas yung typhoon. Alright? So, andun tayo sa weather disturbances. And then, after that, they will now collect weather data. Dito pumapasok ang interpretation of the data that we were talking about kanina, dun sa component 1 process skills. Okay. And lastly, for astronomy, learners will describe the natural objects that they see in the sky. Ito ang umpisa sa grade 3 ay ano yung nakikita nila na natural object during nighttime and daytime. Yun yung start off nila for grade 3. And then for grade 4, after describing the natural objects, learners will now focus on the main source of heat and light on Earth, which is the sun. The sun, including its role, the growth and development of the plants, and its effects on the activities of humans and other animals. Okay. Pagkatapos, unti-unti tayong lalabas from the sun. After they will be familiarized with the sun, magdadagdag tayo ng another concept, which are the moons and the stars. So there has been a question raised to me last time about constellations. Sabi niya, mamang dami palang constellations, do we really need to discuss all of those? So maliban dun sa trivia, para ma-contextualize natin ang sabi ko, you only focus on the constellations that can be seen in the Philippines in a specific time of the year. Kasi po, kapag tag-ulan at kapag tag-init, meron tayong mga specific stars or group of stars na nakikita lamang sa mga specific areas. Nakabisado ko yun. Ang sabi ko sa kanya, nakikita ko ang North Star sa ganitong buwan, tapos alas 3 ng madaling araw. Kasi nung nag-aaral ako sa Manila, alas 3 ng madaling araw, lalabas ako ng bahay at habang naghihintay ako ng sasakyan, bago ako makasakay ng 4 a.m., nakikita ko si Big Dipper. Nandun siya, parang, basta meron siyang specific na lugar lang nakakikitaan mo. Pero kapag hindi na yun yung buwan, lumilipat siya. Kasi nga, nag-iiba din yung position natin around the sun. So mahalaga na ipaintindi natin yun sa mga bata. We don't need to explain all of the constellations because it will be meaningless to the students. So pipili tayo ng mga competencies or pipili tayo ng mga concepts na akma dun sa competencies. Okay? So that it will become more meaningful to the students. And lastly, for grade 6, we will turn their attention to Earth as another natural object in space. In addition to the sun, moon, and stars, kaya i-discuss din natin ng rotation and revolution at i-include natin kahapyaw yung ibang meron sa solar system. So sinend ko sa inyo, ang pinili ko ay the planets. Kasi mahalaga yon kasi kakailanganin nila yon kapag sila ay nag-grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, and grade 10. Take a look at this. Sa astronomy, for example, meron siyang Earth, meron siyang Moon, the Sun and the Moon, the Earth, Tapos biglang papasok si asteroids, si comets, and other members of the solar system. So kailanganin nila yung konsepto na yon pagdating nila ng grade 8. At least man lang, sa grade 6, nakapagbigay tayo ng basic na concept na kailangan nila kapag sila ay umakyat sa grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, at saka grade 10. Ma'am, napapansin po namin, bakit walang grade 11 and grade 12? Pati doon sa umpisa kanina. So ano sa tingin nyo? Sinadya ko ba na kinat ko siya? Wala talagang grade 11 o 12? Sinadya ko bang kinat lang or wala talagang grade 11 and 12? May idea ba kayo kung bakit? Na-discuss ba yun sa inyo? Okay, so sirit na ha. So, hindi kasi spiral ang progression ng grade 11 and 12. Hindi spiral progression approach ang ginagamit for grades 11 and 12. Kasi meron silang specific specializations. So, first term, itutuloy niya yung sciences, higher sciences. Pero you don't expect somebody na hindi enrolled sa STEM with a higher science. Ibang subject din naman sa kanya ang idadagdag. Pero, wala po siyang, hindi siya mag-i-spiral from grade 10. Pwedeng wala na siyang ganong subjects kasi hindi na nila nakikita yung relevance niya dun sa kukunin niyang course. Okay? So, ulitin ko, ang spiral progression lamang ay mula grade 3 hanggang grade 10. Ma'am, paano yung kinder, grade 1 and 2 for science? So, kinder, grades 1 and 2, ang science ay integrated and thematically created. Example. Ibig sabihin, wala silang science subject. Example, meron silang math subject. Tapos, dun sa math, bibilang sila ng stars. Bibilang sila ng moon, ganun. Integrated siya sa ibang subject. Walang separate subject na science for kinder grade 1 and 2. Parang meron naman yung adding ko, parang may science sila. Ang science nila ay integrated lang sa ibang subject. Kunwari, social studies. Tapos, yung paglilinis ng komunidad. That is a science concept, pero nandun siya sa social studies. Integrated siya, thematic. Kaya ang CG natin, 3 to 10 lamang ang spiral progression for science concepts. Okay, questions so far before I end my presentation? Okay, so kung wala, meron tayong homework which is a required reading. I want you to read more about spiral progression approach in teaching science, a case study. With this URL, you can open this URL and download the reading. And you're going to answer one reflection question. What are the key takeaways that you have learned from the reading? So, maaaring magkakaiba kayo ng sagot. You can give at least 3 and connect it to how you're going to apply it in the future. Isa pa, I want you to work in a pair. So, dalawa kayong magbibigay ng key takeaways nyo. Kunwari, si Nikki tsaka si Jovelyn magkagrupo. Babasahin muna nila yung required reading. Saka sila mag-uusap ano yung natutunan nila. Tapos pipili sila ng 3 mula sa natutunan nila na pwede nilang i-connect sa kung paano nila pag gagamitin yon yung natutunan nila in the future. Okay, so questions with regards to your homework because this is the end of my presentation for this afternoon. Do you have any questions?
Ma'am, magiging
Yes.
isa lang po ba yung output? Isa lang po yung gagawin?
Opo, isa lang ang gagawin. Kunwari si Tricia May tsaka si Earl Denver magkagrupo, pag nag-submit ng output dun sa G-Classroom, mag-leave na lang ng private message si Tricia. This is our work, ma'am. My groupmate is Earl Denver. Para kapag halimbawa, ang i-check ko ay yung kay Almeron, same grade kayo ni Tricia May.
Thank you.
Pero isa na lang yung lalagyan ko ng comment. Yes, Tricia, thank you din. Any other questions? Yes? Yes, Ida.
Ma'am, paano po yung groupings?
Grouping, you choose your pair.
Ma'am,
You choose your pair. Yung kung kailan ipapass, usually, di ba sabi ko ng orientation 1 week after, pero kung sa tingin ninyo ay hindi kasya, di i-adjust natin. Pero ilalagay ko siya mamaya sa assignment natin para doon kayo magsasubmit. Isang output sa bawat grupo lamang. So, pwedeng nauulit, no? Kunwari, no? Ano sino ng example ko kanina? Si Pearl, tsaka si Trisha. Magkagrupo sila. Parehas yung isasubmit nila. Pero ang i-check ko na lang ay yung kay Almeron, kung anong grade ni Almeron, yun na din ang ilalagay ko kay Trisha. Okay, any other questions? Kasi kung wala na, maybe it's time for us to turn on our cameras for our documentation and then send the picture in our GC so that I can fix our presentation before sending it to you. Can you please turn on your cameras? Yan. Nag-ayos pa sila. Nalugi ako Okay. How about the others? Okay, who is in charge?
Ma'am, ako po.
Okay. Nandyan na ba ako? Hindi ko nakikita yung sarili ko. Nandun ako sa taas. Nakalagay ko naman, include yourself in the grid.
Ma'am, pwede pong play pa yung screen po, ma'am. Yung
Absent
kagaya
ako?
po kay... Ma'am, yung kagaya pong ginawa
okay.
ni Elijah noon, ma'am.
Okay. Ganyan?
Po. Ma'am, wala pa po.
How about that one? Nag-present na ako.
Yes, ma'am.
Tingnan mo nga yan?
Yes po, ma'am.
Wait lang Kulang tayo. Wait lang. Ba't hindi tayo kasya? Dapat kasya tayo. Ganyan. Mas okay ba yan? Nahilo ka na ba? Nakikita mo ba kung anong ginagawa ko? Ayan.
Ma'am, hindi po
Parang hindi pa rin
nakukuha
tayo
na.
kita lahat, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Kaya lang, bakit kaya ganyan? Anong nangyayari dito? Wait lang Enable grid view. Ganyan na? Kalahati lang. Bakit 1, 2, 3, 4, 8? Iilan lang tayo, no?
Ma'am, 16 po yung nakikita sa akin.
Oo nga. Bakit? 36 tayo. Wala bang camera yung iba? Include yourself, enable grid view by default. Okay naman ako. Naka-check na ako lahat. What else? Help? Ba't magiging ganyan? Alam ko na, Blessy. Pagka-picture mo ng isa, aalis yung iba. Para mag-picture yung material. This is Okay. Sige, picture na tayo. First take. So, yung mga nasa grid, pwede nang ma-MLS mamaya. No? Thank you.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Ma'am, captured na po.
Okay, next. Bye po. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you po. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next batch na lang
Thank you, ma'am.
magpipicture. Thank you.
1, 2.
Wait lang, may hindi naka-on ang camera. Si Jovelyn. Ayan, Jovelyn. Okay na. Mm.
1, 2, 3. Ma'am, okay na po.
Thank you. O, kasya na yun. 16 at saka 16, no? Lahat na ba?
Ma'am, 37 po ata tayo.
O, sige. Isa pang batch. Next. Thank you. Jovelyn, hindi naka-on ang camera. Christine, Mary Jane. Ay, malis na sila. Yan. Crystal Joy, Wella, Mika. Mika? Ako nga din, mag-post nga din ako. Naingit ako kay Jovelyn eh. Paano ba yun? Sandali. Ah, game.
1, 2. Ma'am, okay na po.
Okay, thank you, Blessy. Salamat. Papapost na sa GC, Blessy. Hintayin ko, ha? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you po.
Ay po. Bye-bye. Stop record. Si Mika tulog pa.